What's up, Good Vibes gang? Brandon Miracle here, hosting a discussion on Mario Kart Booster Course Pass Wave 6. It's finally out after all this time, all the courses, all the content. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 is complete after nearly 10 years of just seemingly active development. We're finally at this point. I can't believe we've been playing the same Mario Kart game since I was in college.
That's a weird thought. Oh my god.
I know. Like, you saw those Twitter posts of people being like, this is where I was when GTA 5 came out. This is where I'm at with GTA 6. And I'm like, Mario Kart. It's just as bad.
Aren't we up to like 96 tracks or something like that? Like, yeah, 48 and 48. So, yeah, 96, I think. Holy crap.
96 tracks. Doubled. Yeah, it literally doubled. We're at 24 cups, which is just ridiculous. That's like fan hack levels of Mario Kart content.
Remember when that first set of DLC came out when it was just Mario Kart 8 and we were like, wow, there's so many tracks in this game.
Yeah, because we had 4 extra cups, but this is ridiculous.
This game originally came out with 4 and then 4 cups. Yeah, we had 8 cups total when this game originally came out, and now we have an unfathomable amount to the point where most of the Mario Kart series is inside of this game. It's crazy.
It really is the ultimate everyone is here of Mario Kart, which is kind of awesome.
The funny thing is, I saw somebody mention this on Twitter. We have all these courses, 96 tracks, not a single one themed specifically after Luigi.
Wait, are you serious? There's no Luigi course at all?
There's not a single one. There's like
no
the Luigi Circuit
Raceway,
or
Luigi's Mansion.
Nope.
There's not very many of Luigi to begin with, actually.
The closest you'll get is Twisted Mansion, which is more Boo themed than anything else.
Nintendo took that financial loss in the year of Luigi, and they took it personally.
We're gonna punish him for that.
But as we've done with all of the previous waves of the Booster Course Pass, we have to rank these 8 courses, decide how good or bad that we think they are. And we're going to jump right into the Acorn Cup, starting with Rome. Is that Avanti?
I'm going to say Avanti, yeah.
I'm Italian, I should know this. So, you know what, Derek, I'm going to throw it to you. What do you think of this course?
Well, the funny thing is about this entire package is that, for the most part, this is the first time I've raced most of these courses, barring really one. So this is all very fresh to me, and Rome Avanti surprised me. I like this course a lot. The theming is good. The city itself is cool to explore. The nighttime theming, you're going around the Colosseum. It's a very dynamic course. It doesn't reach the upper echelon. Like, I still think it's the Soul Speedway. I think it's Soul Speedway it's called. That is still incredible from a visual standpoint. But it's still very good. And I was like, oh, this is off to a strong start already. Like, I really enjoyed this Rome course.
Yeah, I was surprised by this one, too. Last night in our crew chat, Ash was like, this one's kind of mid, and I was playing it, and I'm like, I don't know if we played the same track.
I know, right? I saw him put out his whole tier list, and I'm like, I don't know.
Like, I don't think this is the most, like, extravagant course. Like you said, it doesn't even come close to, like, Soul from the previous set. But visually, I love the art direction on this one. It's very pleasant to look at, which I think is great. There's that section in the third lap where you drive through the Colosseum and it's full of chain chomps, which I think is just awesome. I wish there were more moments like that in the overall track, but still, I think it's better than it is worse, if that makes sense. What do you think, Daniel?
The overall tour tracks usually have gotten into this trap of looking like kind of samey at this point, where they're all like in the city in some way or another. But we've gotten to the point where there's other tracks that don't really do that. Like, this kind of reminds me of Athens Dash from the last track. It's a lot more earthy than, this is the best way I can probably pronounce it. It's more earthy than the rest of those city tracks. And as I mentioned before, another tier list, I'm a big fan of whenever we have any course, really, that changes it up every lap that you go on. So I really have come to appreciate laps that just, they change it up every time you go around. And so, I like this one a lot, honestly. It's at nighttime, it's a nice vibe to it. And it's I don't know. I don't mean to go through the whole entire track already, but the entire booster course DLC wave already, but like it's hard to decide which one is really like top of another in this one. It's all very much evenly laid out for me at the moment. But yeah, I do really appreciate this track.
So if you were gonna rank it somewhere, Daniel, I'm gonna let you decide first.
Push you off that cliff.
I guess we could put it around maybe like gosh, I don't think of it as bad as like Ash's opinion on the track, but maybe like a B tier list for Romavanti.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was landing. It's like high B could become low A. I'd have to go back and play the other 5 packs again to really like judge it that minutely, but right now I'm feeling B.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Like, I'm hovering between low A, high B, and I think I'm just going to go with you guys. I was leaning a little closer to high B, but it's a quite high B. Like, I think it could be just a little bit more, but it's just like, it's still good times all around.
Just like you mentioned, there's not really, thinking about it right now, there's nothing that really stands out as like a set piece like the Coliseum with the chain chomps in it. Like that's what I definitely remember from that track, and in just, you know, certain areas inside the city. But if it had more of that, I think it'd be a bit more memorable. I kind of put Athens Dash a bit higher than this one in that case.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. But I'm curious how our assessment of this next track's going to go, because I have very strong opinions about this particular course. And that's DK Mountain. DK Mountain is one of my favorite tracks of all time. Double Dash is one of my favorite Mario Karts, and this is the game that comes from. I'll go ahead and kick us off on this one, just because I want to talk about DK Mountain. This is a fantastic update to the original course. It's legitimately like jaw-droppingly beautiful. I think.
It is so colorful.
Yeah, when you're flying through the air towards the actual mountain, and you see all the volcanoes and the other mountains in the background as you start driving down, it's like, it's crazy. There's so much detail back there. It's really, really pretty to look at. I found the gravel on the mountain on the way down to be weirdly detailed. Like, it stood out to me. I was like, that's some nice dirt. In addition to that, I love the new arrangement of the song. The new version of the track theme is fantastic. I think the only part of the track that I wish were different is those narrow paths on those winding turns on the way down. In Double Dash, they could actually be quite tricky. Here, they're so wide.
They're much wider.
There's very little chance of you actually falling off.
I guess that's to accommodate the fact that there's 12 racers instead of 8, but
I guess
still.
Yeah.
They're accommodating the fact that it's making it easier, because in Double Dash you have to do really perfect like drifting in order to get those turns right, or else you'll either fly off, or no, you'll either slam into the wall, or you'll go too deep in and you'll fall inside the crevice. So it's definitely like been accommodating to more, I guess, beginner friendly players. It's just a bit wider so everyone can kind of make their way through in that case.
Yeah, that gets me, that makes me struggle. Like, I'm teetering between 2 ranks here. One is personal bias, and the other one's like, I think this might be where it actually belongs. But Derek, I'm gonna throw this one to you first.
Like I said before, the thing that stands out the most to me about this course is just how freaking gorgeous it is. The fact that they have the face still on the mountain still looks great. They added extra faces to the trees at the starting line. It captures all those things pretty well, other than, as we've mentioned, those tight turns as you're going down the mountain. And that's kind of the only place it falters. Otherwise, it's an excellent track, but I'm still not decided on what my S tier is for this set yet, so I'm going to sort of feel it out as we go along. But I think right now I feel pretty confident just putting this as a solid A, like easy A.
Yeah, I'm teetering between A and S here. If it was as difficult as the GameCube version, I think I'd throw it on S. But right now, A is looking a little more accurate for me, which is painful for me to say because I love DK Mountain to death. Daniel, I know you and I have dissenting opinions between this and DK Summit, so I'm curious what you think.
Oh yeah, I do like DK Summit more than the mountain, don't I?
Yeah.
This course, it's you know what, I do enjoy that they also brought DK barrels in there. They don't really do anything. You just kind of run into them. I thought you like get items when you crash into them, but they're just kind of there.
Oh, I thought they were hazards, so I always avoided them.
I just kind of run right through them. They didn't really like impede. I don't know. Maybe I need to run into more barrels. Who knows? They didn't really impede my my progress. But yeah, I mean that. And then they changed the bridge at the end. It waves more like distinctly back and forth, so you can get boosts off of it. But like I don't know, like the main set piece is going up the mountain with that cannon. Otherwise, you're just going down a couple of turns and waves down the mountain and avoiding the boulders that usually. They didn't really impede me in the slightest at all. They're just kind of there as a background. So I would put this underneath Romavanti for me in B tier, honestly.
Wow.
Just because, I mean, I love Double Dash. I love that game very much, but the course itself, I guess I just don't really find too much going on with it. Like the main thing is like when you play that for the first time, there was no track back then where you like saw the entire course ascending upward and you could see it underneath you. Like that was really cool. But we're in an era where there's a lot more spectacles to be seen in Mario Kart, so I think it's just a bit lower down there for me.
This is the one thing keeping us from becoming a single human entity, Daniel.
The mountain versus the summit.
Truth.
You bring up a good point, but I think with your B, my A, and Brandon's potential S, I think that's an A, pretty average.
Yeah, regardless of what I say at this point, I think it's getting slapped an A. So we're gonna drop it right there. Yeah, I do think. Yeah, I do think it's a little hard for me to put it in S tier just because I think the GameCube version is better from a difficulty standpoint. It is probably better to be more user friendly, I guess, but I don't know. I've fallen off that track so many times in Double Dash, and I don't ever see myself falling off of it on Mario Kart 8. So A tier it is. Moving on. We've got Daisy Circuit, and I have feelings about Daisy Circuit, but I'm gonna let Daniel start.
Oh my goodness. This one, I was surprised to see how many tracks I kind of just forgot about and then are reintroduced into Mario Kart. And this is one of those tracks, like, oh right, there's a Daisy Circuit in that game. Because it's kind of not, I don't know. I like the setting. It's set in there's a sunset. It's got that orange feel to think of Daisy. It's got the four statues actually has adult Daisy, Luigi, and then baby Daisy and baby Luigi in the next set. So I thought those were really cute little set pieces on there. Otherwise, it's kind of just a track.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a flat track, honestly. There's not too much going on with this one. But I love seeing, more Daisy representation. She already got her cruiser. She now has the circuit. Poor Luigi's out here with nothing. My man can't get a track in this for the life of him. Almost 100 and he's got nothing. But that aside, yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the lower ones for me. Like all these it's a lovely track. I love the music and the vibe of it, but it's probably one of the lower ones for me in the overall Wave 6 DLC.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. It doesn't stand out in any meaningful way. Like, that was the thing that really struck me, is like, this could have just been a course in any Mario Kart, and there's nothing distinct about it that really places it in any generation of Mario Kart for me. It's just a track. So yeah, it's kind of boring.
That's the funny thing, though. It's like, when there's a lot of other tracks that are just flat, but when I think about all the ones that are on the SNES, they have a distinct visual style. At least you've got those colorful blocks that kind of divide it into these very angular turns, and they kind of mix it up that way here and there. But yeah, this one is kind of like this track could be in Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart DS, or the Wii version, or GameCube. It just kind of is a track.
Fair enough. I don't have that connection with the original because I barely played Mario Kart Wii. I don't remember there being a baby Mario or a baby Luigi, baby Daisy statue initially. There probably was, because I'm sure they kept it pretty accurate.
I think there was.
Yeah, there was.
So that kind of caught me off guard. I was like, oh, there's a second statue here. I had no idea. Well, there you go. But listening to you guys, like, yeah, you're right. It does struggle for that firm identity other than just it's Daisy themed. It's a fine course, but it's not exciting. I think that's the big takeaway here, is it doesn't really get your blood pumping as you're going through it. I mean, you do have the sidewalks that have this sort of uneven course, and that did affect me. That did have a standout moment for me because I was all set to win, and for some reason one of the AI characters got up on that sidewalk and smoked me right at the end. I'm like, what the, is that actually faster? What the heck? So that's at least interesting and unique, and I guess in that way that you can get a significant shortcut if you can stay up on the sidewalk. But yeah, that's if the sidewalk is your most interesting feature, I think you're struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious where you guys would put it, because like I said, I don't hate it, but I can understand why. I have a feeling you guys would probably put it in C.
It's getting a D for Daisy. No, I'm kidding. It's a C.
It's like, I don't think it's that bad. Oh my god.
Yeah, I would say it's also a C tier for me.
Yeah, I think C is probably pretty firm for that one. It's,
all right,
it's fine.
I'm glad we agree on that. I thought I was gonna get booed for this one.
I don't have that attachment, so I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I like it, but it doesn't stand out when you really look at the other courses.
Into C tier it goes. And then we got the last track of the Acorn Cup being Piranha Plant Cove. And Daniel, I'm going to have you start this one as well. What did you think?
You know, I've always thought that with these underwater, these courses that introduce underwater, that underwater didn't really have to be like a tentpole of the, land, water, sky, like lighting in the sky. I feel like it would have been more interesting if they took something out of the book of Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed or Diddy Kong Racing, where you actually ride on the water instead. I think that would have been a lot more interesting to see set pieces, because otherwise you're just kind of driving in the water with, slightly more floatier physics, but that's really the only thing. And this is a course I think could have benefited from that as well. But of course, like, not many people even know that the original track, from Mario Kart Tour, because that was just like, that was one of the last tracks introduced in Mario Kart Tour before they ended service. So it's really cool to see it introduced in this way, like all interconnected and stitched into one more, as with any tour course. And yeah, I thought it was an okay track. I enjoy this track as well. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it, but I do see, I guess I'm a bit confused having piranha plants so integrated with the water. And I don't know.
I mean, they were in the sewers before, so.
Well, that's true. I guess so. There's like the piranha plant, the slide as well. So I guess that makes sense. But yeah, this is, again, I don't want to like put everything in B tier. That's the thing. Or lower. Like I know there's some more standouts on here as well, but I do think it's a pretty interesting course as far as how it's all put together. But what do you guys think of this one so far?
This one surprised me a little bit. Like, the locale isn't the most interesting, like you said, because you're underwater, so you don't see all the cool stuff that's actually on the surface. But I did like that each lap was actually almost entirely wholly unique. Which not a lot of tracks do. So it surprised me from that perspective. I love that the Mario 64 eel shows up a few times. Not quite as menacing as it is in Mario 64, but
so goofy now.
it's still fun to see it. Yeah. It's got low-key vibes, like, I enjoyed being there, I guess, but yeah, it doesn't really do anything too different other than having those unique laps. Those unique laps do set it apart for me, though. Like, I give it a lot of praise for that. But Derek, it seemed like you had a pretty strong opinion.
So again, I didn't play tours. This is my first time, and I took me a while to realize it was a tour track, and when it got the multiple courses, because the thing that threw me off the most when I first played this was, holy crap, lap 1 is long. I was like, oh wait, I'm already in lap 2. No, I'm still in lap 1. What the heck? How is this still going on? And you're right, the theme is maybe not the most exciting, but something about this course really attracted me to it. I really enjoyed myself. I liked the multiple laps. As you said, each lap is very much different. You have some interesting geography as you're going along. You have that possibility of crossing over with other racers when you intersect in different courses. I might shock you guys with this one, but this was one of my contenders for an S.
Oh, wow.
I really enjoyed this one. I'm shocked how much I did enjoy it. But again, I'm coming in here with no basis on any of them. So they're sort of even keel for a lot of these for me as I'm sort of deciding. But obviously, I don't think it's going to hit that S because I don't think we're all in agreement on that one. I think you guys are far lower. But something about this one just really clicked with me and I really enjoyed it.
I think even though it does benefit from having, unique tracks or unique paths with every lap, it does then suffer from what I call the red arrow syndrome, in which there is a lot of arrows which you have to keep up with and make sure that you're not accidentally going in the wrong direction. Which I think there's a turn at the beginning of one of these laps here where it looks like you can it's like the arrow's not finished. You can kind of sneak by it, but then you obviously can't because you're supposed to turn completely to the left. And that kind of threw me off a bit. It's just a matter of learning the track, though, a bit more. It's not like it's a major thing that it's a big problem with it or anything. But yeah, there's some of these tracks do get a bit aggressive with making sure that you go in the right direction with these arrows back and forth. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, I can see. I guess I don't know if I would put it at S tier. I could at least give it like a low A probably for me, as far as its uniqueness and the diversity it gives to the tracks presented in the booster course go. So
yeah, A is where I put it last night when I played it for the first time, and after listening to both of you guys, I think I'm still pretty firm with A. Like I said before, having those unique laps is like a really big thing for me. It's like it's just a whole new course for the entire 3 minutes that you're driving on it, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm willing to give it an A.
Hey, I'll take A. I was like, I think you guys are gonna put this in B, but I'll take A. I'll take it. That's cool.
I still want to know your official ranking, Derek. Did it teeter into S, or you still on A?
I'm looking at the others, and the other two tracks that I'm like considering for S, and I'm like, I have to think on that. I might have to come back to this one, but I think it might have gotten S if looking at the others. We'll see how this all goes, but I'm okay with A.
All right, so A it goes.
I think it might. It's one of those things where you like put all of them out before, then you really look at how they all landed out. It's like, and really think it's like, which one do I really enjoy? And that's probably where I would have ended up with my S at this point.
I feel that. We're moving into the Spiny Cup. This is the final cup of Mario Kart 8, and it makes perfect sense that it's a spiny blue shell. We're starting off. It is the end. Someone's going to get blown up by this thing. We're starting.
You finish it, and it's like, all right, start over.
Delete your save file.
Yeah, do all the tracks again.
Buy the DLC again. We're going to start off with Madrid Drive, which is another tour track, and right away I just want to say that I really like this track, and a lot of that has to do with this incredible soundtrack with these amazing Spanish guitars. I'm so into the music on this track. Like,
it's so good.
I'm so glad they added the music player, because now I can just listen to this, have it on in the background. This is a great song, and like I said, that's gonna just raise the bar for me on its own. There is that section in the third lap where you go through the football field, and I thought that was pretty amazing. Like, when I saw the stadium coming up as I was driving to it, I was like, of course we're going to a football stadium. That's awesome.
And it's even better that the soccer balls are getting kicked back and forth by Goombas in the Karibo shoe.
Oh, it's so good.
Beautiful. The moment I had the of course we're going into a soccer stadium. The other moment I had that I didn't even think of that I loved, the museum, the art museum that you go into and you see all the Mario artwork. I actually took time to go into Time Attack, go to that museum just so I could look at the artwork and see if it's like trying to figure out if it's original or not. I don't think it is, but there's some fun stuff in there. seeing all the characters interact.
And when you drive through it, it gives you that kind of like artsy audio track
Yeah.
to go onto the music. It's
It
very
does
cute.
change it for that little bit. There's a lot of fun details with Madrid.
I was gonna say the only thing that brings it down for me at all is the fact that it's a lot of just road. I'm so
Yeah.
tired of regular road in these tour tracks, but
they're offering churros, Brandon. Churros.
the churros. Yeah, it's hard to fault it for that though, because it is Madrid. So like, you know, if there's streets there, there's streets on the course. You know.
We just needed. If it was only a little bit later, we could have had the running of the bulls for this stage and have those bull enemies from Mario Wonder chase us down the street at some point.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Or running on top of them. Mark my words, Wonder effects are coming to Mario Kart 9 or 10, whatever they call it.
What do you think, Daniel?
That's a prime example of having like 2 laps, and then the third lap is the same track but with a Wonder effect. But that's a different story. Yeah, I wanted to bring up pretty much all that you already mentioned. The music is fantastic. There, you go through the stadium. There's a museum. The artwork is just done by the actual artists that you see doing promotional art for the Mario series. So I thought that was really cute. You go through like the vendors and everything. You see the Wiggler asleep for one lap. He wakes up on the second lap. Just some little touches here and there. I think the music really does tie it all together. This is one of those tracks where I wish we can lower the volume of the freaking engines are so loud so I can actually listen to the music in the background that's happening. There's a music player. Thanks. Let me lower and make the carts not be so loud and aggressive so I can actually hear it while I'm playing the game. But yeah, this is one of the best tracks I think was with the Booster Course Pass for sure. Just a lot of different parts of personality in there. Like when you're in the stadium, you hear the chanting with the music that while you're going through it. All these don't even take that long, but they still take the effort to make little musical changes, like with the museum and with the stadium, and those little touches help elevate this a lot more than other tracks. And yeah, I definitely put this way up there than the other ones we have thus far.
This is on the higher end of the real life world tour tracks for me. This goes
Agreed.
firmly in A for me.
Yeah, it has to be ranked higher than Rome. It has to be. So it has to be A to me.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's quite S, but it's definitely A.
Yeah, it's close for me. It's the Spanish roots, man. But I would say like a high A for me. So I guess
That
we're
is
in
really
for-
funny. We got a Spanish course for Daniel and an Italian course for Brandon.
Hey, we always come in pairs.
There you go.
It's the law of the universe. So we're dropping Madrid in A. Honestly, very good placement. That one could teeter into S, but I feel pretty confident on A on this one. I might get flack for this next one. Rosalina's Ice World. I probably shouldn't start off this one. Derek, what do you think?
I think it is perfectly fine. It is. You have another ice course. You have your above ground. You go below ground. It's showing off the stuff that Mario Kart 7 introduced. It's fine, but kind of how you guys felt about Daisy Circuit is kind of where I fall with Rosalina, where it's just like there's some neat ideas here. There's a nice tricky portion where you have that sort of gap that DK Mountain should have, where I feel like that's the tricky part. Like that stands out to me as one of those harder parts. And there's definitely all kinds of different routes to take. It's a very dynamic course, but it's also just okay. I don't know. It just didn't stand out to me as much as I love Rosalina. It's fine.
Oh, go ahead, Derek or
I
Daniel.
wish it was just named something
Mateys.
different. Like, of all things, it's just Rosalina's Ice World. Not even anything more creative, like Rosalina's Ice Cap or something unique that kind of... It's just Ice World, you know? And I don't even associate her with Ice Worlds. Why isn't it something set in space instead, you know? But yeah, I guess she has an Ice World now, the same way that Mario just has a summit. But that one's actually really cool. But yeah, I think... It's one of the tracks that I don't really remember from the 3DS as well, because it just didn't really stick out to me as much as others that aren't in this game, like Shy Guys Bazaar, for example. I would have loved to see that one here. But the Ice World, Oh my goodness. Yeah, it doesn't really stand out to me as much as other ice worlds, like ice tracks that we have. Like even with one of the, what was it, the Game Boy Advance or SNES ones that we had previously, with the penguins sliding around in there. Like that one just kind of has its own personality, I think, because it also, again, it has like those multicolored blocks around it, and it has a bit more of a feel to it. But yeah, this one, I mean, I don't want to like knock it down either, but it doesn't really feel as memorable. There are some cool parts of it where if you maintain enough speed, you go to the top portion of it, and you can like kind of take a little bit of a shortcut that way, or if you fall down, you're underwater and you kind of traverse that way. And there's that split in the path where you take either the left side the long way around or the right side, which is more narrow, and you have the boost pads to kind of, you know, boost you across. But there's not too much more diversity in the track other than that, so it's hard to rank it much higher, honestly.
Yeah, the one thing that stands out for me on this track, well, I guess two, is visually it's very pretty.
Yeah.
I love the Comet Observatory at the start line. The way the star reactor in the center glows has a really nice effect on all the environment around it. You can see the Good Egg Galaxy up in space when you start. The lowest poly Good Egg Galaxy I've ever seen.
Just like, we have to put Galaxy in here somehow. Come on, someone.
That's all she's known for.
I'm sorry. Yeah, if you look closely at it, like, it is super low poly. Like, it does not look very good, but you're not supposed to really be keeping your eyes on it, so I guess it's fine. The snow and stuff looks okay, I guess. Like, it's appealing, but like you said, it doesn't really stand out in any meaningful way. The music I really enjoyed, especially the way it starts, just a very bumpin' tune. So I'm down with that. The underwater section is so nothing. It is like the most nothing underwater section in any Mario Kart track I've ever seen.
It felt like a punishment to miss that jump on the second lap because it's like, dang it, give me a mushroom so I don't have to go down here.
Now it's just filler in a Mario Kart track.
That's seriously how it feels. Like it feels like that exists just because Mario Kart 7 introduced underwater. So they're like, we got to do something, right?
Put some water in here.
I just wish there was some like visually interesting things underwater, something that reminded me more of Galaxy, which the rest of the track is trying to do. But
nope,
it doesn't really do that for me. Yeah,
like again, they could have done something with water where like half of this portion is on top of the actual ice, the other half is like on the water, like surfing on top of the water, going across it that way. And they could have had something different with each corner, with each side. Like maybe the ice part would go into the sky, or the water section has boosts in it.
So for me, this is not like Daisy Circuit level. This is a better course than that. So for me, Rosalina ends up in B tier. It's still a more interesting locale than something like Daisy Circuit. It has some unique elements compared to other ice courses. It just doesn't feel very Rosalina to me, other than seemingly being in space.
We're just gonna plop the Comet Observatory there. There, it's Rosalina themed.
Yeah, that's really what they did.
Couldn't even like do some music to complement Rosalina at all. I mean, it has a nice soundtrack, but yeah, it just kind of doesn't make me think of Rosalina, except for those two little set pieces.
Yeah, so
yeah, I agree.
B tier for me. What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, we'll put in the B tier. We'll stick it down in there. Sorry, Rosalina. You deserve better.
You do.
Next up, we've got Bowser Castle 3, another returning SNES course.
Oh, man.
But you could really not tell
by
playing this one.
I gotta admit, when it comes to SNES courses, I tend to get bored. There's a few of them they do something with, but like Daniel's like, oh, they have the visual distinction of having the blocks around the course, which is nice to help separate it from the Game Boy Advance courses. And we've seen them really upgrade some of certain Game Boy Advance courses to be unrecognizable from that game. But this, holy crap, I went in with no expectations, and it blew me away with how cool it took that basic concept of Bowser Castle 3 and expanded it where you have these walls you can drive up on and all these interesting turns and whatnot. Like, this is actively fun. Like, I'm shocked. Like, I came into this with no expectations, and I really enjoyed myself.
there's so many little things you can do with the mostly the Super Nintendo and also Super Circuit tracks, because they're pretty much cut from the same cloth. They're very flat. They don't really have much chance to have elevation, and so they do a lot more with that to an extent. In this one, like obviously we don't have any ones that are like Ribbon Road or Cheese Land that are in the previous ones, which had a lot more time and care put into it. But this one really comes like probably one of the closest ones to that. Like we also had Boo Lake, one of the previous ones that also kind of just makes it undistinguishable from any other track in Super Circuit. But this one is like, it's one of my favorites from the DLC, funny enough, because it just has that much of a unique identity to it. It has elevation, you see anti-gravity with it. As you mentioned, there's like parts where you can drive up on the wall, and there's just so many differing parts. And also, it has a remix to the final battle of Super Mario World, which is always a good thing to have as part of it. So, like with Brandon, I say that the music can help elevate a track by a whole lot if you do it right.
I love the way that when you're starting off, you're kind of like rolling up a hill. So like you can see all of the track in front of you before that left turn. And it's just a sight to behold. It's really cool to have a track from Super Nintendo added in this DLC that actually takes advantage of all of Mario Kart 8's anti-gravity stuff. Because not a lot of these DLC tracks have really leaned into that too hard. But this one does. I love the fortress vibe. Like, this feels like an actual castle to me. Like, Bowser's castle stages in the past, you know, you're usually driving in the castle, through the castle, but here you're mostly outside of it. So you get to see it for the whole track, and that really helps with the vibe for me. It's so dynamic and fun. This might be an S rank for me.
It was one of my considerations as well, I gotta say. Like, it was like, is this an S tier? I'm not sure. But it's close. It's one of those like debating ones I had. It's like, is this my S? I don't know. What do you think, Daniel? I'm curious. Like, are you that close? Or are you like a little less down?
I think this shows that you don't have to have like super extravagant, you know, uses of everything. You don't have to be the tracks that we've seen before where they're always different every lap, where it's like the tour tracks that were new to us, like Vancouver. I know that was a really high ranking one as well. Or completely new tracks like the one we've seen with Yoshi's Island. Like it can be an old track like Super Nintendo. It just depends how you handle it and how you craft it in a way that makes it feel unique and different to the way it has its own personality compared to the other tracks on here. And I think it does accomplish that very well. Like, as you said, you're like in the fortress. I remember just literal walls of lava falling on both sides of you, and it just feels menacing, and it sounds menacing at the same time. And they add just enough to make it feel like its own unique experience. And you can't tell that it's from the Super Nintendo, but it takes that inspiration and it rolls with it very well. So if there was an S tier one for this, this is the closest one that we would have, honestly, for of these 8 tracks we've been given this wave.
So I'm up there in S.
Is this going to be our S? I guess it really comes down to this or the next track. Should we tentatively place it in A, talk about the next one, and decide between these two, or is that fair, or are you guys pretty confident with giving this one S?
I think I'm pretty confident personally, but I don't know how Daniel feels.
I would not be at all opposed to putting it in S tier, to be honest.
Then I say S.
Into S rank, a Super Nintendo track goes.
I
Awesome.
would never expected that. Never.
Leave it to Bowser pulling his weight over here.
It's that Jack Black influence. This is Jack Black's course now. All right. The final track of the Spiny Cup and the final track of all of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is, of course, a Rainbow Road, and it is Rainbow Road from the Wii. Daniel, I'll let you kick us off here.
Oh boy. So this definitely was not my favorite on the Wii. I had issues with it back then. And you know what? When you put this into a formula and with physics that actually make more sense and are fun to play on, it turns out the track can be much better
Yeah.
to play on. And so also just the visual upgrade as well. This was the era in which obviously we had games like Mario Galaxy, and so there's like star bits in the sky. And obviously this is where Mario Kart Wii did more with like tracks that had the tricks that you can actually leap off of, and so we have more of those here as well. But yeah, this is definitely one of the ones that I think is higher ranking, much more preferred played on this console than on the original hardware, which isn't true for all tracks, honestly. Like, as we mentioned before, as you mentioned, Brandon, I think you and I enjoy DK Mountain more on GameCube, but here I definitely enjoy Rainbow Road Wii on this booster course pass, and it definitely ranks high up there for me. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think this is your quintessential Rainbow Road. Like, you think of Rainbow Road, and for me, this would be one of the ones that shows up. I have a similar opinion on Mario Kart Wii. It is not my favorite Mario Kart. It's probably not even my top 5. But this is a good course, and I can't deny that. The music is all whimsical and happy. It's a good time. Like,
yeah, it's pleasant.
Yeah. I also appreciate the game's commitment to making every Rainbow Road have a different Rainbow Road surface. Like, all the tracks are a different Rainbow Road, so they can all coexist.
We're only missing 2. Poor
That's
GameCube
crazy.
and GBA.
Man, I wanted to see that Super Circuit Rainbow Road, if only to see Paper Mario's Bowser's Castle in the sky. And also because that's also the hardest Rainbow Road. I wanted to see everyone suffer in that one the way I had way back then.
I have a feeling the courses we did not get as part of this DLC are pretty big candidates for the returning tracks for the next Mario Kart game. So you know what? I will take Airship Fortress for the next time, and Super Circuit Rainbow Road and GameCube Rainbow Road. Why not? Let's do that. But yeah, this is I think I played it once at a friend's. Did not stand out to me, but this just came across as a very pleasant, kind of like, as you said, Brandon, what you think of when you hear Rainbow Road. It also kind of has the length that Rainbow Road 64 does not have, because they shortened it so much because that one was so long. But each lap for this one felt pretty significant, and like it took a while, so it gave it a little bit of oomph. And there's enough visual splendor to keep it up there. It's a really good time. I had a lot of fun with it, and it's definitely, as we mentioned, kind of knocking on S, but I don't think it's quite there because it is just so quintessential Rainbow Road, though, so it doesn't stand out in any other one way. It's just a really good course.
It is the Rainbow Road you played on Wii, just in a better game.
Pretty much.
There's not much to change, which is not a knock against the course. It was already pretty good to begin with. I love that you can see planet Earth under Rainbow Road. I kind of wish that if you were online, all the Miis that were in your room were just standing on the planet.
Looking up, waving.
That'd be cool.
I'm using tilt controls. Their bubbles just up in the sky.
I do love the effect that anytime you fall off Rainbow Road, it's just a burning vortex around you. Like up, you're straight to the planet. You're dead. Yeah, you're gonna burn up.
Yeah, this is a great track. It does knock on S, but it is not quite an S for me. I think this is a very solid high A.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like I said, it was one of the ones I was considering, along with the Piranha Plant Cove, but I think it's not quite there.
I know we're not directly comparing to other DLC tracks just quite yet, but this definitely doesn't reach the same levels that the other Rainbow Road of this booster course pass does with the 3DS version. Like, it definitely isn't of that rank, so it is hard to reach that level. So this definitely does rank lower than that for me. Not in a bad way. It's definitely still like hovers in the A tier for me as well. But as you mentioned, it's pretty much what they took and what they learned from Mario Kart 64 being too long and Mario Kart Double Dash being too hard, I guess. Too difficult, honestly.
Hard track,
in ways. And they just kind of balance all that together here, and this is the kind of quintessential Rainbow Road that they came up with. It's got your tight turns, your no railings with boost pads all over the place, and then just just fun little areas where you can do tricks, and those where the course turns into like it goes in and out again, back and forth, and just fun little details like that. So that does rank pretty firmly in the A for me as well.
When you said that, it reminded me that this track actually resembles Mario Kart 8's own Rainbow Road quite a bit. Like, they're very firmly in that space theme. They do that split winding track thing a few times. I confuse them
together every now and then when I think about them. Yeah.
I always think of the satellite first when I think of Mario Kart 8's Rainbow Road, but I'm also not a big fan of Mario Kart 8's Rainbow Road.
It's not the best.
No.
It's too mechanical for me, man.
It gets beaten by the other Rainbow Road that it launched with, even though that track is way too short.
Yeah.
They course corrected way too much for Mario Kart 8.
That needed to be a 2-lap course.
Yeah, it really did. So we're putting Rainbow Road up solid in A. That puts 4 tracks, a whole cup's worth of tracks in the A tier.
Wow. I went into this set with little expectation. Like I said, I barely played any of these courses beforehand, and they surprised me. I'm like, this is a solid set to end on. I was like, when I first saw them, but no, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, as someone who plays Tour a bit here and there still, because I was trying to, I was playing Tour when they announced that there was going to be more characters, which we're still going to mention probably at some point. But when I got that, I started to play on tracks that were just based on Mario Kart Tour specifically before they even released in here. And I knew that Madrid would be a fun one. Rome Avanti I did not play as much, but Madrid was going to be a good one. And then just little nice surprises like Bowser's Castle. Didn't expect that to just shoot itself up there for us. So yeah.
Yeah, I look at this kind of holistically. There's only 2 tracks that I'm not really too hot on, and that's Rosalinas Ice World and Daisy Circuit. And neither of them are bad. They're perfectly fine. Just about everything else rises above. Rome Avanti might be in B tier along with Rosalina, but it could very well sit in A with the rest of those.
Yeah, like we said, that was like a low A, and we just sort of getting the feel for it at first, and yeah.
Yeah, so this is I don't know if I would say it went out with a bang, but it went out pretty dang close to one.
It went out with consistently. It's like we're going to be nice and just show you why you have fun with Mario Kart 8 with some other really good tracks.
Yeah, I was worried that there were going to be a lot of other waves that just outshine this one and would just kind of be like, here's your last wave, see you later till Mario Kart 10 or whatever. And no, they did this pretty well, and I think it's a perfectly acceptable way to end off this DLC track. Which also, if you complete this cup in Grand Prix, you get an extra credit sequence, which I thought was really nice.
One of the best credit sequences ever, honestly. It's poppin' music, great visuals in the back. It's got this fun corkboard. I don't know. It's I dug it.
Here's all the memories. I thought it was cool that they pulled like a classic Sonic credits thing where they would just stitch together a bunch of different music from the DLC tracks together into one song. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really closes the book on Mario Kart 8. It's funny though, because I didn't get these credits because apparently, I think it was Booster Course Pass Wave 4. I apparently don't have one of the trophies.
Oh,
I definitely did the tracks though. Maybe I just did them online. I don't know. So I have to go and redo that, and then also redo the last cup so I can actually see the credits.
Oops.
Oh no!
Oh, you didn't see the wholesome picture at the very end.
Yeah,
nope. It's a mystery to me still. Really briefly, I'd like to touch on the new characters. I got to play as Pauline and Diddy Kong. Those were my 2 choices. Mm-hmm. I've been wanting Pauline for the longest time. I'm glad she's just kind of showing up in everything now. When you glide with her, she sings a line from Jump Up Superstar, which is awesome. It's hard to hear her, though. high up in the sky.
Yeah, high up in the sky. I'm like, oh, that's good.
It can be a little hard to hear her though over the rest of the game sometimes, which is a little bit of a bummer, but still cool. When I was playing as Diddy, it just made me wish that one of the Diddy Kong karts from Diddy Kong Racing was just an available body, so I could really get that Diddy Kong Racing feel.
Yeah, it's a shame that they didn't add any like kart parts, because Mario Kart Tour is filled with so many unique karts that you'll never see in another Mario Kart now, because that service has ended. But maybe in another game. But yeah, maybe. I think there was I played as all 4 characters a little bit here and there, just to kind of reacquaint myself with them. Pauline was definitely the one. I did a list a long time ago of what characters might appear, and Diddy and Pauline were on top of that list as well. So it was cool to see them there. Unfortunately, Pauline didn't have her mayor outfit for the bike suit. They just use a jumpsuit, a track suit, as they would with the other princesses. So.
I like that it still differentiates for the other princesses, where it's like they feel like motorcycle suits, but Pauline's feels more like you'd see in a stock car race.
Oh yeah,
a bit bulkier. It's not as skin tight.
Yeah,
slightly bulkier, very slightly, but yeah. I got the chance to play as Pauline, Diddy, and a little bit of Peachette, and Pauline definitely has some of the best ones. She's all about that song, that singer's life. But I like how it's whenever you win with her, get that first place, her wave is such a politician wave. And I love that.
It is, isn't it?
It is like, oh, she's just full in politics. So there's the mayor part of her. That's nice to see. And yeah, just it's cool to see that songstress aspect to her that just has become part of her character. And honestly, I really like Peachette's animations, because it's just like, let's dial up the adorableness to 11, and just like she does certain tricks, she just sort of kicks her feet like happily and just tries to be as cute as possible at all times. I'm like, okay, you kind of still be on this character. I'm down for this. And Diddy is Diddy. I have not done Funky, but I assume most of their animations are the same from what they've done before.
My favorite is probably when you win a race with Diddy and he's just standing in the cart waving, and it's like, you're gonna fall out, my man, get back in the car and put your hand on the wheel, dude.
Diddy Kong does not have his driver's license. But yeah, that's Mario Kart 8 Wave 6. There were some other updates that came along with that we won't talk about here today, but they did a good job. Mario Kart 8 is finally done. We've closed the book. With Switch 2 on the horizon, hopefully Mario Kart 9 and or 10 is on the way. As much as I love Mario Kart 8, I've been ready to move on since 2017.
Yep. I gotta say, I was not excited for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe when it first launched, because I wasn't that into the battle mode, but this extra DLC has certainly helped this game's legacy.
Oh, for sure.
It's amazing what being one of the top-selling Switch games, and thus the top-selling racing games of all time, can do as far as like adding more content and more until almost a decade later. But we're at the end here. We're done with DLC here. Mario Kart Tour is finished with its content as well, so that means the Mario Kart team is going to be putting all their focus together in whatever comes next, and that's exciting.
Can't wait to see the ideas.
Yep, me too. That's going to do it for us here today on this discussion. I want to thank my boys here for joining me in this Mario Kart 8 finale. If you're new here, please subscribe. Tell us what you think of the Mario Kart 8 Wave 6 courses below. Do you agree with us? Do you not? Do you hate me? Let me know. But until then, we will see you next time. What do I say? I have this new phrase and I can't ever remember it. It's keep the games good and the vibes greater. Bye-bye.
Till we meet again.
Bye.